Hi, we are HYBEAM, and we design the future of hybrid work and learning spaces. And today we're talking about beyond the screen and designing presence and embodiment in mixed reality. So the problem that we faced in research and also in real life is the hybrid working paradox. That means that 80% of the knowledge workers prefer to work hybrid, but at the same time, 71% think that hybrid workshops, so synchronous meetings, events, are stressful because the nonverbal communication and the sense of being present are missing. So, but what is presence and embodiment? I have to cheat on that one, but there are many definitions. And one is, presence is the subjective experience of being mentally and emotionally engaged in a situation to the point that it feels immediate and real. Then we have social presence. That is the feeling of being with others, the perception that another person is real, attentive, and emotionally available in interaction. And then we have embodiment. So it describes how thinking and emotion and interaction are grounded in bodily experiences. So in short, presence is I am here, the social presence is that we are here, and embodiment means this is me here. So our answer to the question on the hybrid situation is that we are trying to build a mixed reality platform to bring people as remote participants, not only as videos into the physical room, but as avatars. So by wearing the headsets, you can still see the physical room, but you can extend it with virtual objects or people. Last summer, we were able to try our first prototype. So we were at the LearnTech trade fair in Karlsruhe and at the same time at the University Future Festival in Berlin. And we had a panel discussion, so a multi-hybrid one, so that both people on the stages physically could see the other parts as avatars. And we have seen that it was possible or good to have a group discussion live on stage, not only through video, but also for having the movement and the 3D interaction. So here's a glimpse out of our prototype. We have already released a new version of it. But as you can see, someone is wearing the headset. We have 2 tables. And you can interact with people as avatars in the room. You can write on whiteboards. We have different cards with different information. And everything is seen from everybody. That means, but also that the group who is in person there, everyone has to wear a headset because you're working with the virtual material. As you can see, writing is still one of our usability challenges. I don't know if someone has already tried it here, but it's getting better and better. But of course, haptic is very, very difficult using hand and finger tracking and not having any controllers with you. We have a little menu on our left hand where you can also click through a presentation and also spawn the different materials. So we have identified 3 use cases where the interaction is, or also the feeling of presence is very important. So we've seen design thinking as the possibility of teams to solve creative problems with material, and also where the team dynamic is very important as well. Then we have process and visualization to map out different workflows and to have the shared spatial awareness of the room or also of the different processes. And then we have team dynamics. So we have leadership trainings, team development to make alignment as a group experience. We were able to test our last prototype version a few weeks ago, and it was very, very interesting. So it was like one of the biggest group we had, what was 12 persons. And as you can see, the headsets we're using, they're still quite big, bulky, and not really socially accepted. So we are hoping, of course, for better versions. So that's also why we start now, because there's a hopefully a big AR hype is coming, because different bigger companies already announced their headsets. For example, the Snapchat spectacles is around the corner, or the next year's is, for example, from Meta as well, the Orion. And you see it's more than a normal smart glasses than just like the big VR headset. Okay, let's come to our usability challenges. Of course, like I said, the hardware, because it's not only that you wear the big glasses, it's also, of course, gestures. So having another operation system behind it, it always depends as well. Like if you just have a 2D website, you can use your mouse and you click. But now we want to go back to the 3D interaction we actually used to, but it's different because you still need more or different gestures or way to go to interact right, or how it's designed. Then we have the embodiment design. Who of you have seen the film Polar Express? Like the animated film character? And who thought it was a good film? A few? Yeah, I liked it as well. Many people are saying that it feels awkward watching it. And that's because of the uncanny valley effect. So we have a valley of a good feeling if something should be real, but it's animated. So they used real actors for the movement, but then they animated the characters on them. And so many people are saying it's quite weird because it looks kind of realistic, but it's not. And that's where we are right now. You have seen in the video also, if you have tried it out, that we're using still the avatars from the producers, and they're kind of like gamey or more like gimmick, not really photorealistic. We also have a test in a few months with a startup. They are doing like 3D scans with a phone, and they built a plug-in for us that we can test it now with photorealistic avatars. But it's really risky because it can go to that valley effect because it's more realistic, should be realistic, but it looks or it's weird. Then we have the challenge of shared spatial awareness. So again, escaping the flatland, so escaping the 2D again, means that we have to rearrange us in a physical space with digital objects and people. So again, I have my private space, but an avatar could go through me and give me some weird feeling of that. And how to avoid that or make that not possible. And of course, the intuitive interaction. So of course, the goal of UX and UI, that it's intuitive to use different menus, to have your materials where you think they would be, but still it's hard to say, is everything on yourself, so on your body, like the menu we have right now, or is it good to move and maybe have like a virtual Methodenkoffer, I don't know the English word, to grab a pen and go again to your virtual whiteboard to write on it for the embodiment, so the body experience. Yeah, so maybe on the journey we are right now, so we are a spin-off of the University of Leipzig. We had a scholarship now for a year, and we will incorporate in January, so we are still in between that, startup, officially being called a startup. But what we learned in that year is that design, that we have to design for presence and not for realism, but it depends as well. So with the background of the uncanny valley, but also to see that sometimes creativity and a hybrid workshop space is good with also just a few things and objects. Just like 10 minutes ago, someone built like an igloo or a house with the whiteboards because you can move and you can just try to be creative with the things you have. So what we see is that it doesn't have to be perfect right now because it's fine for that what we are building. But of course, it's nice if it's getting more realistic. Then we have embodiment and is contextual. That means avatars are really a big thing because they're carrying the emotional meaning. So that's something we really want to test more. So right now it's more that we are talking with the people, how do you feel, what do you think? And that's of course hard because we're using test users right now. So you cannot decide how you look like. But we've seen that it's very important for the identification, also how people perceive me as somebody. And the last point, that accessibility is part of usability, as we've heard today a lot. So XR experiences must be inclusive, not only at the hardware, but also the onboarding, the possibilities. I've talked with someone, because inclusion is one of our biggest value, what we have, but I talked with someone who has just a right arm and not left arm. But if we are doing the menu on the left arm, then it's hard for someone using it at all. Yeah, our vision is to bring people together, especially if they're not able to. So what I've just said, like inclusion is our value, what we want to do, but it's hard to get there and to include really everyone. And that's, I think, a really, really big UX and UI process. Yeah, it's not just me, it's also Annika and Jonathan. Jonathan is our computer scientist. Annika is in marketing and business administration, and I'm from education. And yeah, we are hoping for more usability feedback and possibilities, so just connect, don't forget to connect. Try it out, and yeah, ask us every question you want. Thank you.
Thank you. I wasn't aware that you will talk in English. But
there's also an inclusion factor, we said, but
we discussed
I hope everyone is quite okay with English.
So, questions?
But you can also ask in German. So.
Thank you. In the beginning, you said that 80% find hybrid workshops really stressful. Do you have any numbers how that changes through HYBEAM, for example? Do you have any experience?
It's hard to test. Like our tests are quite like in artificial, so it's hard to say it. So we are like looking right now for companies who want to test it for a longer period to have like really the data to say, does this engagement, which we perceive or think that will come, really takes place, and also for a longer time, or is it just something to play with? So unfortunately not right now.
Are there more questions? Weitere Fragen?
Thank you very much for the presentation. I was just curious because you were focusing on hybrid working situations and especially workshops. Mm-hmm. But I mean, when I'm thinking about my work, I mean, quite often also remote-only workshops are a big issue. Just thinking, staring at a screen, the moderator is talking, the other's not. So why do you focus on hybrid working and not on the other use case?
It's a very good question, and I wouldn't say that like you can also use it for a completely remote workshop you want to use. One thing is really a room, for example. So we see, or maybe it's more the approach of being, like our goal is to be physical together. Like this is what we think is the best experience, getting to know each other. And then we go from that way to say, okay, but wait, what if it's not working? Then it would be nice to bring someone in. And then we have seen that there's the hybrid gap, so that you don't have the equal interaction. For example, if we all are all remote, we are equal again. So then it's easier to also think or to decide which methods you are using because it's complete virtual. But it's not as good as we would be physically together. But that means that remote definitely also works, but it's also an issue of a room, because if you want to do a workshop with 12 people, I don't know how big your home office is, then because the people also have to fit in, and that's why we thought of, okay, but like the companies, they have their locations, they have their offices, but they're not using it quite well, or maybe they have different locations and how to bring these people first together. But of course, you can use it also remotely. Yeah.
So, do we have more questions? Noch weitere Fragen? Ich denke, eine geht noch.
Who have already tried it today?
Some.
How was it? Yay! I think it's hard to say more about it if you haven't tried it, because if you see it here as a video, it's not. It looks a bit messy as well because of the different objects. But if you try it, you get aware of distance and shared spatial awareness again.
But I've seen a lot of people with the glasses today.
Tried it. Yeah.
I hope they had fun. So let's give another round of applause for
Thank
our
you.
last pitch.